You're here because I'm number one in the universe at what I do. So this is how I only paid out $650 in my California divorce settlement, and it was a 3-year marriage. So first, you need to know about the women in a candy store. So, and this will be a story. So imagine you're in a town, and there's one candy store in the town. And let's say it's the last day of the candy store being open. They're doing it well, actually, they haven't even told anyone they're going out of business, but today's their last day. And adults can't go in, only kids. And then it's like the checkout cashier. Who's the owner? So it's the end of the day. The last kid comes in, and it comes at 4:59 p.m. The store closed at 5, so there were no other kids in there before. So the last kid to enter the store for all time is there. And kid doesn't find anything kid wants. Kid really doesn't have any money, so can't really get too much anyways. So about the kids, they're browsing, window shopping, and then the kid goes to leave. And it doesn't matter if it's a girl or a boy child, but the kid goes to leave. And right before the kid leaves, the cashier, who's also the owner, says, "Hey, we're going out of business, and this is our last time here, last to open. You're our last customer, and you'll never, ever, ever be able to get any of this candy, this chocolate, these lollipops ever again. But I'll make you a deal." The owner says to the kid, and the deal the owner tells the kid is, you can take as much as you want. It's all free. And so, what does the kid do? The kid goes and literally takes everything, and they back up the kid has the parent back up the truck right to the front door, and the kid takes everything that they can, because why not? It's their last chance at getting it. And then the kid and the parent drive off, and the store clerk's left there, empty store, but he's closed anyway, and he's getting out of the business. So this story where the kid had one last chance to get all the candy, and they're allowed and encouraged to take as much as they want, is the exact thing that happens with women in divorces, aka in the family law system. By the way, California is the number one most destructive, most tough family law system in the universe. And so me being able to get out and only pay out $650 in the settlement is number one god of the universe status. And so, okay, we can see the candy store. The kid's told, this is your last chance to get everything, and you can take as much as you want. So obviously the kid took, the maximum. So this is what women are like in divorce court. The family law system when going through a divorce. So one thing to know about women's brain is they don't operate on logic. They don't, in the story I told you, let's say it was a female child, or any child. The child's brain didn't work on logic like, I might miss out on this because it's close tomorrow. What the child felt actually was, unlimited candy for free, and I can take as much as I want. And basically, since children can't think logically, they can't plan ahead, that's the same exact brain as a woman. So women are unable to think logically and unable to plan ahead. Why do you think basically all women are in debt? Because they're unable to plan ahead. Women literally cannot understand, if I spend more than I have, I will be in debt. Women, because that's logic, and women's brains don't run on logic. So to achieve what I achieved, and this is my own strategy, no one else in the universe has this. So to achieve what I achieved, you must know that women are children, and their brains do not run on logic, it runs on emotion. And also, they cannot plan ahead. So to do that, the reason why you need to know that is women's brains run on emotion. So when the child in the story felt that it was their last chance to get the candy, not like logically understanding, but felt that was their last chance to get the candy, then they took as much as possible. And if you're a man, you're probably sitting there thinking like, oh, feeling that they'll miss out plus logically knowing the store's closing are two of the same things. And no, they're actually not. And so the strategy I used, which, I didn't read this from anyone, I just pieced together all the answers of how a woman's brain works to figure this strategy out. And so the strategy is you need to divorce without the woman feeling like you're going to leave her. Because that means she will not feel that it's her last opportunity to grab the candy. AKA, she will not feel it's the last opportunity to grab your money. So how do you do that? Well, you follow the strategy I did. So basically we're married 2.5 years, and halfway through our third year, her behavior decreased every year from perfect to terrible. So we're halfway through our third year, and it was August 2021. I started down at the beginning of the month. I said, I actually used a version of a version of a line that I read to take your relationship from closed to open. So I used a variation of their line. I said, hey, I love you. I want to spend the rest of my life with you, but I feel really stressed with the state government in our relationship because I have business stuff and I'm unsure, basically I just said it makes me feel really, really stressed. So I want to get the state government out of our relationship. So I'm going to file the divorce. I think I then continued on saying, nothing's going to change. I'm not kicking you out. I simply feel really, really stressed that the state government's in our relationship because I have a lot of business stuff, and this, in case of a divorce, the state government can take that, and that causes me stress. And then I said, okay, so I'm going to file the divorce papers to get the state government out of our relationship. Now, an important point is, I did have a prenup in New York, and before you say, oh, that's why everything worked out, no. Women's brains don't work on logic. Women don't care what they sign. Women are going to do what they want, no matter if there's a contract in force or not. And if you're in a situation now where you're, actually interested in this, you're probably in a situation where your woman's set for richer or for poorer, but now her behavior's terrible, and now you're here. So obviously she's not, fulfilling that verbal contract she made to you in the marriage ceremony, aka the prenup I have actually doesn't matter at all because it's a logical contract and women's brains don't work on logic. And so basically what happened, this was the first week of August 2021. Told her that stuff. Love you, want to spend the rest of my life with you. Nothing's changing. I'm not kicking you out. You'll still be here. Everything will be the same. I simply want to get the state government out of our relationship because it's caused me a lot of stress. So I'm going to file the divorce papers. And okay, so 2 prongs off of that. So one is one is basically and her parents are going to hit you up. Well, first let me tell you her response. So her response was shame tactics, asking if I was gay, saying I was going to screw up her immigration stuff because she was an immigrant from Mexico. I'm a U.S. citizen, and I did sponsor her first citizenship. So her response was, you're going to ruin my immigration stuff, are you gay, some other shaming stuff. But I don't argue, I just stood up and walked to the kitchen and got some water or something. And so I told her that. Oh, yeah, this is what I wanted to say. So the reason why I wanted to do this was before. So we dated for 3 years. She had perfect behavior, and then we got married, and then her behavior like rapidly declined from there. So my hypothesis was, I tested a bunch of things before getting to this point. My hypothesis was, okay, all the other things I've tried to do, other things I've tested, nothing has improved her behavior. And I said, well, her behavior was perfect before the state government was in our relationship, aka via marriage. So let me try to test getting the state government out of our relationship while we still, live together. And so I thought of this strategy, and I know everything about how women's brains work. So I wanted to get the state government out of our relationship while her not feeling like it was her last attempt to get my resources or her last chance. And so I decided, okay, we'll just live together like normal and just file the divorce papers while we're living together like normal. And okay, so I told her that first week of August. Shame tactics. Called her mom. I think her mom hit me up like same day or next day. We talked on the phone. And I do think you should talk to the parents if they call. So it's tough. So one thing, you need to have a tight mouthpiece. I was doing all this in Spanish, but you need to have a tight mouthpiece because just game theoretically, if you don't answer, her parents are going to assume the worst, and they're going to assume you're kicking the daughter out. My plan for this was get the state government out of relationship, and then basically once that's done, see if her behavior improves. If yes, cool, stay with her and just like continue on the relationship. If it improves to a location I want, and if it does not improve, then okay, the state government in our relationship did not improve it, aka her behavior is the same whether or not the state government's in it. But great, now since the state government's out of the relationship, I can actually just walk away from this relationship easy peasy, because we've already signed the divorce papers and we're basically like boyfriend girlfriend now. Okay, so we're still first week of August. Her mom calls me, asks me what's going on, and I do think you should talk to them, but you can't screw up what you say. Basically, you can't talk too much. So her parents are going to hit you up, and they're going to ask you what's going on. And I was doing all this in Spanish with her mom. I was like, look, in the U.S., so they're in Mexico, so I told you, in the U.S., the laws are really, really, really bad against men. And then I'm saying all this in Spanish. And, just the state government, our relationship was really stressing me out. And so, I want to get the state government out of our relationship. And, not against her out at all. Nothing like that. Everything's going to continue on the same life, simply getting the state government out of our relationship so I'm not as stressed. And then she said, you're stressed by losing your business stuff? And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, but you have a prenup. You guys signed a prenup. And something smart that I did. So one answer could have been, yeah, I know I signed the prenup, but those can be challenged. But I did not want to say that because I did not want to give any ideas for it to be challenged. So my answer I gave was, yeah, but it still really, really stresses me out, and I don't want to live with all this stress. And there's some other stuff. That's basically the main idea. There's other stuff like, is that her mom was trying to say that's not a real marriage if the state government's not involved. And then, I asked her some questions. This is probably a waste of time because it's using logic on a woman's brain. But I was like, okay, tell me which one is a real marriage. One where a man protects, provides for a woman, but the state government is not involved, or the state government is involved, but a man does not protect or provide for the woman. Like, which one's the real marriage? And I don't remember her answer, which means it probably was kind of like a whole bunch of nothing fluff. But again, I'm using logic on a woman's brain, so I didn't really expect a logical answer back out. But I do think we talked for like 45 minutes. Other than that, it was basically those ideas that I just described. And then, it was doing all the filing the divorce papers, getting all the, assets for each person, listing those assets out, coming to a divorce agreement. The way that works is if both partners cannot agree on the terms of the divorce, then then the court looks at the prenup, and then one or both parties can decide to challenge the prenup. And if she challenged the prenup, there's a box she could have checked that said use the husband, my money, to challenge the prenup. And I never told her what to do, never told her what not to do. She didn't get a lawyer. She did not get a lawyer. I never told her to get a lawyer, to not get a lawyer. Basically what I did was, I think I may have said, so the divorce process was like August. It took me a while to get the papers done, but I started in August just because it's emotionally tough to do. We eventually signed November 15th. And what happened between beginning of August to November 15th with this divorce stuff? I think I did talk to wife a little bit, saying like, I told her, hey, all the stuff I came in with, I'm going to keep. All the stuff I got during the marriage, I'm going to keep. All the stuff you came in with, you're going to keep. All the stuff you came in with during the marriage, you're going to keep. And she had two things that she acquired during the marriage. One was she got a Toyota Yaris, I think, car for like $12,000, and she had a YouTube channel for business stuff. And basically, I told her, like, hey, the way these courts work, they can take your YouTube channel and your car and give it to me, and I don't want that to happen to us. So let's just split everything that I came in with and that I acquired during the marriage to me, and everything that you came in with and you acquired during the marriage to you, and that's it. Did that help? I'm not sure, because again, that's logic, and women's brains don't run on logic. But I think that's a better way to position it, saying like, what she could lose if we don't do this, my stuff's mine and her stuff's hers agreement. We did have in the prenup that all the only joint assets we had were 2 joint checking accounts, but the only money I put in them were, I would literally deposit like $2,000 each month, like total for our expenses. And actually, it looks like I only had $1,300 in there when we did all this, and that's why I paid out $650. So we had no joint assets. We only rented. She had a car. I told her to put it in her name, but actually we paid $1,000 of the car from the joint bank account. So technically, I could have fought that and got a half of it, but I didn't want to fight it. I just wanted my stuff and to get out. But I positioned her that she could lose it as and her YouTube channel and her social media stuff as a reason not to fight. I do think she played some games in like September, being like, oh, I'm not going to sign the divorce papers. Just ignore it when she says that. I actually think I told her, oh, it's going to screw up your immigration stuff. I don't think so. I think the best answer would be to just ignore them, because if they get a response out of you, that means like they hit on something, which then they'll use emotional and mental warfare to use against you. So whatever threat she makes, just ignore. Don't even react. Get through filling out your paperwork. Get her served with the paperwork. And then she like stalled right up into the last minute because she was going to Ecuador with a friend. We were in Los Angeles. She stalled up into like the last day. Literally, I think we signed it like the night before she left Ecuador, but like she was pushing off signing it, blah blah blah. The night right before we did sign it, she was trying to get like a guarantee for me to pay her money to still live in the apartment. Or, but that doesn't make sense because she didn't know I was leaving. But I remember she was trying to get some money. She's like, "What if you leave me with nothing?" But she didn't know I was gonna leave, so I don't think she. But I do remember her stalling right at the end, trying to like get something, get money. But I knew from negotiating the prenup with her, if I give her literally 1 inch, 1 penny, she's gonna take like $60,000. That's what she did with the prenup, where I was trying to like be fair and like logically negotiate with her. But no, I learned that to negotiate with women, you tell them the exact deal up front and never, ever, 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 ever budge. Because if you budge 1 inch, they will destroy you and try to take everything. So they're literally like, they give a mouse a cookie, a story. There's some other things. When I served with the papers, might have been mid-October. Again, it took me like 2 months to I mean, it wasn't filling out the papers once. It was like going through my assets a lot, doing the forms, and then redoing the forms, then redoing the forms. I actually didn't touch the forms. I had my lawyers do it all. The only one thing I wanted to touch was me signing it. I did not want to touch the forms at all because I did not want to screw anything up. So I think I got her served in October. And the most interesting thing happened when I served her. So you got to pay like a third party to serve. So you got to pay like some other dude to come to your apartment. So I had a pretty good guess of her work schedule when she'd be home. And I had the dude come by that time. Dude knocks on the door. I was pretty sure he was coming. Open it up. He asked for a wife. So I went and told her, like, "Hey, this dude's here to see you." And I think when she went up to him at our front door of our apartment, he said, "Is this your name?" And she said, "Yes." And then he said, "Okay, you're served." And she got the divorce papers. And so we looked at it a little bit, and then we walked to the bed. We're in a studio, so it's like 25 feet to the bed. Both sat down on it. And she had the papers. I took them from her. I said, "Oh, okay, these are the divorce papers." Handed them to her, and then stood up. And she looked at them, and she looked at me, and she said in a really sweet, girly voice, said, all happy, she said, "I'm keeping your last name." Like, she was excited to keep my last name. And I said, "Okay, whatever, do whatever you want." But that the rest of the morning, she was like really, really warm with me. We're like watching, eating breakfast. She made a nice breakfast. Watching stuff on YouTube, and she was like being really, really warm with me, which is really strange because she had been really, really cold like previous months and years. She was like put her arm on my chest, was kissing my neck. I thought I was gonna get like stabbed or something, serving her the divorce papers, but no, she was like really, really warm, really excited, really ecstatic. And yeah, so then it took like, I think a month. I mean, we basically signed. I think it took her 2 or 3 weeks to even look at the papers, do anything with them. But then we kind of like did everything in the last week before she went to Ecuador for 2 weeks, final 2 weeks of November. Basically, I mean, we didn't negotiate at all. I just said, I had my lawyer write up the agreement that, we are, all the stuff I came into, you literally list out every item on a piece of paper. Stuff I came into the relationship with, and I acquired her in the relationship that's in my name, I'm keeping. Stuff that wife had before the relationship and acquired her in the relationship that is in her name, she's keeping. We divide the joint stuff. The joint stuff was just 2 bank accounts with a total of $1,300 in them. So I did close the accounts, transfer the money to me, and then I paid out a check to her, totaling right around $650 USD. And basically signed everything, notarized like literally the last day. I even was like explaining to her the divorce settlement agreement like literally the last day, right before she left for Ecuador. And what else? Yeah, so basically, she was still living there. I wasn't kicking her out. She, she, yeah, I mean, I told her nothing. Well, I told her beginning of August, this is going to change. You're still going to live here. I simply want to get the state government out of our relationship because it stresses me out. And so she did, during the divorce settlement stuff, she did not feel like she was going to lose access to the resources. And so we got the state government out of our relationship once that was signed. I mean, technically, I think it had to be like proved, which took like 3 months, but basically once you sign it, it's basically approved. If you use the lawyer. I mean, because they probably got the procedure done perfectly. And so she went on her trip to Ecuador with her friend for 2 weeks. My brother came to Los Angeles for Thanksgiving, and he was here for like 2 weeks, I think, or maybe a week. And basically during those 2 weeks or week, whatever it was, me and the wife really only talked once. I think she called me. Me and my brother were at Santa Monica Beach on the beach. It was the afternoon, and my wife called me, and basically she was like, "Oh, I lost my camera. I left an Uber, and the Uber dude left, and I can't get it back." And I told her, "Okay, go on Amazon, get look up the same camera, see how much it is, buy it, send it to the apartment." She's like, "Oh no, can you do it? And I was like, "Look, I'm at the beach with my brother. I can't do it right now. And plus, I don't have Amazon on my phone. My mom has to get a code to get the password." So I was like, "No, I'm not doing it." And like, I just told her, "You're signed into the Amazon account. Just go buy it." And then she, hung up on me all angrily. So at that point, I think it was like, a week or 2 weeks after signing the divorce papers. And while she was on this trip, and I realized, okay, her behavior is not changing. I didn't reach out to her at all during the trip because with her bad behavior, she had to be the one to amend things or improve if she wanted the relationship to continue. And obviously her behavior was the exact same with the state government in it, and now afterwards without the state government in it. Which means removing the state government did not change her behavior, but that's fine because now I can say, okay, this is a woman with this behavior I don't want in my life, and so I'm gonna exit. So while she was in Ecuador, I think I took like the last 3 days before she arrived to pack up all my stuff. Basically, what did I have there? Clothes, cords, electrical cords, chargers. Left all her stuff, her clothes, whatever stuff's in the closet, the shampoo, the shower curtains. Basically I left everything. Left the desk, left the chair, left the bed, left the couch, left the plates, left the pots, left the pans. Just like, I want to leave, fine, give her, whatever, easy stuff for her to continue on. So I moved all the stuff out, threw it in a storage unit. It took like 3 days. I was using her car, so thank God she had a car. And then when it picked her up, it's like an hour 45 to get there from downtown LA to LAX airport. There's a lot of traffic. Got in the car. She got in, and she was like, same cold mode, driving like the hour back to the apartment, like one-word answers, not interested in talking. The same cold mode I'd been dealing with. So I got in, sat her down. I asked her some questions, and then I told her, "Hey, look, I'm ending the relationship. I've moved everything out, and I'm going to pay 1 month of rent, and then I asked her a few times if there's anything she wanted to say, anything more. And I think she was saying something like, "Oh, you're gonna leave me alone, leave me on the street." And I think she was trying to get like 6 months pay for me, or 6 months of rent from me. I just kept telling her like, I also told her like, "Hey, you've been too masculine, too argumentative, too combative. That's why I'm ending the relationship." And then she started super wailing, super crying. I've never heard any woman cry like that. Oh no, it wasn't when. Well, here's how it went. So we talked for, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes. Said all the stuff that I recently said. And then I think she was getting heat. She wasn't yelling or anything, but I remember saying like, "Hey, let's cool off. Let's take a break. We'll come back to this in an hour." And then I remember she went to take a shower, and that's when she was wailing. It was like the loudest cries I've ever heard in my life. I heard it while I was in the studio, and the bathroom was like on the other side of a wall, door closed. Super wailing, super crying. I don't remember if she was crying before she went into the shower. I do remember the super wailing that she was doing. And I went and got food. 99% of the crying I didn't care about. I kind of 1% did care. I went to get food, came back like an hour and a half later. She was dressed, curled up on the bed. She wasn't crying. So I think it was just one of those finally the pain's over crying from her. And again, I asked her if she had anything else she wanted to say, any other questions. I said everything. Everything I said I wanted to say. And then I left because my stuff wasn't there, and I went and stayed in an Airbnb for, how long was it? Oh, it was funny. I stayed in an Airbnb for one night, then went to Mexico, hung out with her family, had a quinceañera, then came back, stayed at an Airbnb for like a week, then went back to New York for Christmas. But yeah, so that was what happened. But the key was I got the state government out of the relationship without her feeling like she was going to miss out on my resources. And I didn't lie. I told the exact truth. Nothing's going to change. We're still going to live in the apartment. And, that was the plan. But then her behavior after we'd signed the divorce papers, and like the week after when she was in Ecuador, how she was not good behaved on the phone, hung up on me out of anger. That caused me to change my mind. And what's great is once they sign the divorce papers, you get to decide how much time you want to give them to test, to give them a chance at new, better behavior. And you don't tell them, like, "Oh, okay, we signed the divorce papers, now I'm going to give you X time to fix your behavior." No. Simply let them do what they want to do. If they want to behave good, okay, they can be in your life. And if they don't, okay, they're out of your life. But the point is, we got the state government out of our relationship with a favorable divorce settlement for us, because the woman did not feel like it was her last opportunity to access our resources. Therefore, she did not feel the need to take as much as possible. AKA, we solved the candy store, I don't know, hypothesis, candy store problem, whatever you want to call it. And I haven't read this strategy from anyone else. This strategy I came up on my own, and it worked out. Oh, I do want to explain something. I do want to explain a hypothesis I have. And I'm number one in the universe for this stuff, so this is probably true. So I liked Greg Adams when he talks about women try to get meat from you. Money, energy, attention, time. He's actually only 33% correct because it's actually money, energy, attention, time, and sperm. And this is actually only 66% correct because the real answer is actually actually, let me write it like this. This is the real answer. So it's not meat, it's actually meats, but these two different meats. So let me explain these two meats to you. Money, energy, attention, time, and sperm. Money, energy, attention, time, and sperm. Again, I'm number one in the universe for this stuff, so you learn from the number one God of the universe. So what this is saying is, if you have weak sperm, a woman will require a large amount of money, energy, attention, and time from you to then receive your sperm. And if you have strong sperm, women will require a small, or basically zero, money, energy, attention, and time from you to receive your sperm. So it's interesting about when we did the prenup, she tried to take as much as possible. And she kept trying to get more and more and more and more. And that was because I was weak sperm in deciding to marry her. So by deciding to marry her, I was demonstrating I was weak sperm and I did not have all the answers to women. So she required a large amount of meat from me. And then when I decided to divorce her, filed the divorce papers, it was showing that I was strong sperm because I figured out all the answers to women, which led me to divorcing her, which means from then on she only required a small amount of meat from me to be satisfied. And I actually believe this is the reason why the divorce settlement went good in my favor, because I demonstrated strong sperm, which means she did not need much money from me to be satisfied. She did not need much energy for me to be satisfied. She did not need much attention from me to be satisfied, and she did not need much time for me to be satisfied. So my hypothesis is women. So women only file divorce on men when they've been treating the men like crap for 3 to 4 years minimum. So I believe this is the meats scenario when. Now I haven't read any of this research, but so woman is terrible to man for 3 to 4 years. Man to pussy to file divorce paper. Actually, we'll use the to weak spermed to file divorce papers. So woman files divorce papers. This meat scenario is same as above. So one files divorce papers and takes maximum from the man. This right here, woman is terrible. Same scenario. Woman is terrible man for 3 to 4 years. Man is strong spermed and files divorce papers. Woman takes minimum from the man. Minimum. So this is so all these things, there's both hypotheses, but I'm the number one in the universe for this stuff, so this is probably the correct answer, so probably is a theory. But because I only have one data point, mine, I can only technically call this a hypothesis. So what I'm saying is, I believe if the woman files the because all marriages follow the same track. So I believe if the woman files the divorce papers, she's going to destroy the man because he's man showing weak sperm. So a woman needs maximum meat to, balance out the equation. But if the man files the divorce papers, woman needs minimum meat to balance out the equation. And so and the reason why I say it's a hypothesis is I have not read anything, I haven't found any literature, no YouTube videos of divorce settlement agreement. So what the divorce settlement agreement said if the woman files versus if the man files. All I know is my experience, which was pretty straightforward. She did do some shit testing October, the 30 days before between being served and between getting served and then us signing, a little bit of shit testing, but like nothing like these other guys I hear where it's like 3 years in divorce court, $360,000. No, my legal fees were $12,000. Probably would have been 5 to 6K, but I literally had them redo the forms a lot, because I was not touching the forms. No way. Not gonna screw up checking a box wrong. No, have the lawyer do everything. So let me say plus 12K legal fees. Yes, get a lawyer. The family law system in the United States is to destroy you. Yeah, nigga, you. Destroy you. And so that's why you need a lawyer. Yeah, that's it for now. That's everything. I've never heard anyone do this strategy. Never heard any data of whether the woman files, what the settlement agreement is, versus whether the man files. But look, I had one shot to do it perfectly because I knew I would never be, because I basically 99% sure I'd never get married again. I mean, I do have still like 92 years to live, but 99% sure and never get married again. So I was like, this is my one chance to test these hypotheses. Actually, I didn't even have these meet the hypotheses at the time, but looking back, I got them. But I got this data. I figured, hey, this is my one shot to get it. It's interesting. She was definitely starting to argue more and more. Minimum. Oh, I did spell that wrong. I knew it looked funky. She definitely was starting to argue more and more. And so it definitely was the right time to divorce. I do want to see if there's data of men that filed the divorce papers. I gotta say, I'm 100% sure that they got a much nicer divorce settlement than when the woman had to file the divorce papers. And again, that will come back to the meets. So Coach Craig Adams with his meet is only 33% correct. Well, he's the first dude that I heard say it. Maybe some other dude said it as well. Meets with the sperm, that's only 66% correct. And these meets with the weak and strong sperm, these are the 100% correct. But that's just for the meets. But again, I don't have any other data points other than my one data point for this. If the man files the divorce papers, if the woman's fine with giving a nice divorce settlement. Alright, that's all I got for now. Shoot me any questions on the website you have about this, any of your ideas. See if you have other data points. If you're going through this now, you got questions, if you got a friend who's going through this now, maybe you could save them a lot of money if you have this video, because I know I'm the only one in the universe with this info. And so you could save them a lot of money. Send this video to them. It's alright. That's everything.